Hi Peter, while you serve as the faculty director of Warden A&P, you also hold other roles here on campus. Can you tell us about those roles?
So I'm a professor in the management department here at the Wharton School. I direct our Center for Human Resources, and I also direct some other executive programs, but A&P is obviously the big one.
Can you describe the A&P experience?
Well, it's a pretty intense experience because people are here for 5 weeks. Obviously, they're living together, they're having meals together, they're in class together. And there's something that happens to folks who are together that long. They start to learn a lot from each other. One of the very unique things about this program, I think, is the high potential folks who come to a program like this typically don't have a lot of peers they can really talk to at work. They always feel like they're under the microscope, and in fact they probably are, always being watched and always in competition. So here you come to a program where you've got a lot of peers. They're from different companies, different parts of the world, and their interest really is trying to help each other. So we try to get them to come together as a community as soon as they get here and as fast as they can.
Peter, you've been the faculty director of Wharton A&P for about 15 years. Can you talk a little bit about what has changed in the program during your tenure with the program?
The program has changed a fair bit, and in large measure it reflects changes that you see in Wharton generally, and those changes reflect what's been going on in the business world. So in the 1990s, the U.S. economy was booming, and people, particularly from other countries, were coming here to learn about the U.S. model, particularly a sort of more financial-oriented model, shareholder value-oriented model. In the 2000s, the interest changed a little bit, much more interest in China, much more interest in India, and as a result, interest in different kinds of models of business. The students themselves change. We're starting to see, obviously, more people coming from China, more people coming from Southeast Asia in general than before. And it reflects in some ways how the economy itself has changed.
Is there anything else that you would say is different about Wharton's A&P than other programs?
The content of the program is pretty unique. We are trying to give people exposure to the things that are important in business. They're trying to understand what's going on in the business world around them. What are some of the new ideas in technology? What are some of the trends we're seeing internationally in politics and society? So we're trying to cast a context for them, which really is pretty unique and pretty difficult to get otherwise. We don't have a particular approach. We use a lot of different approaches, and we try to pick them based on the material we're trying to convey. So sometimes you're out in the world actually doing things physically. Sometimes you're in the classroom doing role plays. Sometimes it's case studies. Sometimes it's simulations. We're doing all kinds of different learning to match on to the different content we're teaching.
What would you say would be the big advantage that someone would take away from attending A&P?
Well, I think in this program in 5 weeks, you get the kind of exposure that would be difficult to get anywhere else, even in a much longer period of time. You get kind of a tour of the world from an insider's perspective. Some of that comes from your peers who are also from all over the world. You get conceptual frameworks that you couldn't get simply from job experience. And what we're trying to do here is give you something different. And different here is that exposure to things you couldn't see in your own world.
In Wharton A&P, we have about 35 of our most senior faculty teaching in the program. From the perspective of being a member of our standing faculty, what's it like to teach in the A&P program?
Well, of course, it's challenging, right? These are smart people who have a lot of experience. They want different things, and we know that. Right? They want, for example, especially to have their own experience brought into the room. They don't just want to hear from you on this. They want to be challenged. They want to hear things that are new, and they want you to engage them. So, you know, it's a much broader and deeper learning experience than you'd see elsewhere.
When participants ask you, or say potential participants ask you about how is it going to be possible for me to step away from my job for 5 weeks to attend this program, what answer do you typically share with them?
Well, I think the important thing to remember is that in virtually all cases, your company wants you to do this. So you are empowered to step away, and you are encouraged to step away. It is difficult often to do it, to let this stuff go. I think what we discover, and I think what the participants discover, is that it often, if you do it right, is a great learning experience for the people who stay behind, because you have to delegate some things to them along the way, and you get a sense afterwards of how they've done. They get an opportunity to grow a little bit. You get an opportunity to assess those folks, see how they handle these new tasks. And when you go back, some of the things that we try to help you understand when you go back is how to make sure that perhaps some of those things you just don't have to do again.
Warden AMP, we spend a lot of time building the network in the community. And then they join the other 2,400 AMP alumni, and then later join the 92,000 Wharton alumni. Can you comment a bit about the power of the Warden Network?
I think especially now, Wharton School is doing a lot for alumni around the world. And we do annual programs in different parts of the world, bringing everybody together. So it's an opportunity to stay connected, not just to Wharton, but to make new connections to those folks who either went through Wharton roughly the same time you did, or people from a different generation. It gives you an opportunity to meet those people and learn some things from each other.
Thank you, Peter.